The Anunnaki. You've heard the name. Are they ancient aliens, forgotten gods? Well, if you've ever tried to look them up, you know the internet is just a total mess of conflicting stories. So in this explainer, we're going to cut right through all that noise and give you the tools to find the real truth for yourself. Okay, so here's our game plan. First, we'll tackle the main contradiction that causes all the confusion. Then, and this is the important part, I'm going to show you exactly where to find the credible sources. We'll even put them to the test with a really fascinating case study, use them to decode who these gods really were, and then we'll set you up to start your own investigation. All right, let's dive into the core problem. The second you type Anunnaki into a search engine, you just get hit by this digital tidal wave of theories, myths, and facts that all seem to contradict each other. It's a maze, and honestly, it's super easy to get lost. I mean, it seems like a pretty simple question, right? But depending on where you look, the answers you get are worlds apart, and that's the exact confusion we're here to tackle. So, on one hand, you've got these popular theories, the ones made famous by authors like Zakaria Sitchin, that talk all about extraterrestrials from a planet called Nibiru. But then on the other hand, the academic world presents this much more complex, nuanced picture of a group of deities inside the huge Mesopotamian pantheon. So how do we bridge that gap? How do we find some actual clarity? Well, to find any real clarity, we have to go past all the modern stories and go straight to the primary sources. And the best part, these historical treasures, they're basically hiding in plain sight, right online if you know where to look. So let me introduce you to what I think is the greatest treasure for any independent researcher in this field. It's a huge online database all about Mesopotamian mythology, and it is an absolute game changer for anyone who wants to get to the real source material. And this is what gives it immediate credibility. We're not talking about some random blog here. This is a massive collaborative project between specialists from top universities like Yale, Durham, and Copenhagen. This is a source you can actually trust. All right, so let's put our new source to the test. We're going to take a really foundational claim from that popular alien theory and see how it stacks up against the actual historical record. So the popular story is very, very specific. It claims a king named Enlil fled his home planet, landed on Earth, found gold, and established the very first city, Eridu, making himself its king. It's a really compelling story. This, right here, is the most important question any researcher can ask. Let's just forget the retelling for a minute. Let's go directly to the ancient text that actually lists the first kings and see what it has to say. And here is what we find. The actual ancient text, the Sumerian king list, it says the first king of Eridu was named Enlil, a totally different name, Enlil. So you do a little more digging in those academic sources, and the truth becomes pretty clear. These are two completely different figures. Enlil is the king from the Sumerian list. Enlil is a deity from a completely different culture, the Hurrians. They just got sort of mashed together in the popular theory, but the primary sources make that distinction crystal clear. And, this exact same research method helps us understand that even the term Anunnaki itself isn't nearly as straightforward as the popular theories make it seem. Its meaning is way more complex and fluid. Yeah, far from being just one single group of aliens, academic sources show the term Anunnaki meant different things in different texts and at different times. Sometimes it meant the most powerful gods, the top dogs. Other times it referred to the specific gods of a city, like Eridu. And in later periods, it was even used to describe gods or judges of the underworld. And to make things even more complex, some texts, like the creation epic Enuma Elish, don't just mention 7 or 12 Anunnaki. Nope, they refer to a group as large as 600 Anunna gods. That just shows you how varied all these traditions really were. Now, at the very top of this whole complex pantheon is the god Anu. And he wasn't just seen as some kingly figure. In some of the most philosophical interpretations from that time, he was described as something way more profound, the personification of the heavens itself, the original principle of nature that everything else came from. So this brings us to the most important takeaway of all. This isn't about just memorizing a new list of facts. It's about gaining a new method, a way for you to find the answers for yourself to become your own researcher. And here it is, this simple but incredibly powerful process we follow today. You find a claim you've heard, you find a reliable source, like that university project we showed you. You compare the claim directly to the ancient texts, and then you get to draw your own informed conclusions. It's so important to remember that these ancient narratives, they aren't closed books. This isn't settled history. They are dynamic, active fields of discovery. Even right now, experts are working to translate more tablets and uncover more of the story. And this leaves us with a final and, I think, empowering question. We've shown you the method. We've shown you the sources. The real adventure is actually putting them to use. So as you continue on your own journey of discovery, what story are you going to investigate? And what will you uncover next?